Hey guys, welcome to take 100. We're looking at length of slant lines. Okay, so just a little quick recap here. We are looking at how to find an area of a triangle because we're going to need to know how to do this. So what do? I make my pretend box on the other side, right? And the area equals the length times the width of a square, right? So that's 4 times 5 centimeters, and this is going to be 20 centimeters. Now I have to divide that 20 centimeters squared by 2 because it's half. So that would be 10 centimeters squared. Okay, so here is your little hint of what we just did back then. Now we have these rotated shapes, these squares, right? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to divide these into triangles. Ooh, that's beautiful. All right, get rid of that. It's very ugly. Okay, make my nice little triangles inside. This one is going to be relatively easy to do because I can just... all of these are going to be exactly the same size, and there's 4 of them. So notice I have the area, okay, 4 times whatever I'm going to find here. So I have a 2 by 2 square there, and so that's going to be 4 centimeters squared divided by 2 is going to be 2 centimeters squared. And so the area of this square, rotated square, is going to be 8 centimeters squared. For this shape over here, the same is still a square, but it's not lined up. Like you'll notice this one's kind of shifted a little bit, so it's rotated and it's not lined up completely perfectly. So it makes it a little trickier, but here is the trick. You still make your triangles on the inside, okay? Now, I want you to notice this is not included in the triangles. So we're going to get to that in a second. So hold that in your head. All right, I am still making my little square. This is a 2 by 3. So 2 times 3 is going to be equal to 9. Then I divide that by 2, which is going to, or sorry, not 9. Geez Louise. I can add. Okay, so this is going to be 6. Hopefully all of you guys were screaming at me and I'm messing this up again. Okay, 6 divided by 2, and that equals 3 centimeters squared. So that goes here. I have 4 triangles. Okay, what goes here in this spot is going to be here. So I have a 1 by 1 square in the middle. 1 times 1 is obviously 1, so this is 1 centimeter squared. Okay, now I can just multiply these. So the area is equal to 12 centimeters squared plus 1 centimeter squared, and this is going to be equal to 13 centimeters squared. Okay, moving on. All right. I want you to pause and try to do this by yourself now, okay? And then come back. Okay, just going to make my triangles first. Okay, there we go. Okay, I still have this little part in the middle here. All right, so I'm making my square. This is going to be 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters, 3 by 5 centimeters. So that would be 3 times 5 is 15 centimeters squared, and then I'm going to divide that by 2, which is 7.5 centimeters squared, right? Okay, so I have my 4 triangles here, so that's where I get this from. Multiply that by 7.5 centimeters squared. It's beautiful. And then I look at this one here. Okay, I can either just count my squares, there's 4, right? Or I can go 2 times 2, and that's 4 centimeters squared. So I have accounted for the whole entire square that's there. Okay, now I just multiply 7.5 times 4 plus 4, and that's going to be equal to, the area is equal to 34 centimeters squared. Okay, let's do the next one. These are kind of fun, I think, anyways. I kind of like this sort of thing, though. Oopsies, wrong line. Okay, down there, and then right to here. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to make that square, so it's out here. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 times 4 is equal to 12. Divided by 2, that's going to be 6. So this is going to be 6 centimeters squared. Now I have to account for this part in the middle, and it's a 1 by 1 again, so 1 times 1, and that's 1 centimeter squared. Now I can just fill in the rest of the equation. So now I have 24 centimeters squared plus 1 centimeter squared, which is 25 centimeters squared. And so the area of this rotated square is 25 centimeters squared. Okay, so I'd like you to stop, and really do stop, because this can be tricky if you're not stopping and making sure you're understanding each step before you move on. So open up that worksheet and make sure you're doing numbers 1 to 3. If you are struggling with that, come to the help session before moving on. All right, so now we're just going to look at a reminder of what we did before, right? We're taking square roots of things. So here are all your perfect squares over here. Might be a good idea for you to have them written down and at your workspace, so you just have them to look at. I would have these up in the classroom so that you can just look at. So here, the square root of 2, if I'm multiplying 2 square roots together, whoa, what did I do here? That is wrong. Okay, so the square root of 19 and the square root of 19 is going to be just 19. Because I could multiply those together. I could square root it, multiply them together, and it's going to equal 19. Okay? The order of operations for square roots, you do have to do them in a particular order. Okay? So for addition, if I'm going to take the square root of 16, if I'm not 100% sure, I can look up on my chart, but that's 4, because 4 times 4 is going to be 16, right? And then the square root of 9 is 3. And then I just add these together. Okay, now I have to do what's inside the square root bracket first. So this is 4 plus 3, and then that, oh geez, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Sorry, 16 plus 9 is going to be 25, and then I square root, and that's going to be equal to 5. So notice that those numbers are different. What I was going to say is you can't square root these first and then end up with 7, and then it's just not the right answer. Okay, so they are not the same. Let's see if that rule from the other page carries through. So for addition, I needed to make sure 100% that I did with what was inside of the square root first. So if I multiply 64 times 36, that is going to be 2,304. And then I'm going to take the square root of that, and that is going to equal 48. Okay, over here, this is 8 plus 6, that's going to be equal to 14. So clearly I need to do what's inside the square root first for addition. Looking at subtraction, okay, I have 64 minus 36. Okay, I have 28. Then I'm going to take the square root. So this was 28. And now I have 5.29. Okay, and it does go on. Okay, here I have 8 minus 6 is equal to 2. Again, very different answers. So for subtraction, we know 100% the rule is we need to do what's inside of the square root brackets first. All right, let's check this out for multiplication and division. I have 64 times 36, and that is going to be equal to 2,304, which we already knew from up above. Ah, that's what I did wrong. So this is going to be equal to 48.